recording, all right? Okay, I haven't forgotten that, all right? Okay, good. So Richie, you are there already. So let me find out where you are. All right, Richie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, good, 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 good,
Yeah.
good, good. Wow. 3 years, am I right? Has it been 3 years? You were
Yeah,
in my class in
3 years.
2017, the second term, all right? Okay, good, good,
Yeah.
good. Now, they're very excited, the whole class, very excited to be meeting you, okay? All right, now, let's make it very informal, all right? Let's make it very informal. The first thing I need to say is, of course, to thank you, but of course, well,
Great to be here. Thanks for inviting.
yes, yes. Okay, so what have you been doing in the last 3 years?
Okay. The last time, I saw you was like 3 years ago. Like, okay. Anyway, I'm Richie, and thanks for having me here. And I'm the first cohort, like the first DSE cohort in ELUD. And I graduated 3 years ago, and then I went to teach in a primary school for 2 years. And in last August, I quitted and I worked in a few startups. And then this April, I joined the UST, which is like where I'm working right now, in the Education Innovation Center. So basically, like my job is to help professors to introduce new technology as well as pedagogies in their course.
So you've been working at UST for a few months already?
Yeah, like fifth, yeah, the fifth
All
one.
right, and then earlier on you started, in your third year, you worked at a startup company for a while, right?
I feel.
A
I would
few,
say like,
right, okay.
I would say it's like a gap year. Yeah, a gap year.
Yes, I think that's a very good reflection of your spirit, of your disposition, all right? Because I still remember once you invited me to join the education hackathon, but I was too busy at the time, all right? Okay, so how would you describe yourself in terms of innovation, in terms of creativity?
Oh wow, that's okay. Okay. I mean, innovation. This word, I would say it's like to see and to solve the problems like a little bit different, and in the way that like it starts with what the people you're serving, or like what I say is like the end users. Like in your case, it's like the students, what they actually need. I mean, to see that from their eyes, like in their world. And my experience would be like right now. What I'm mostly like involved with professors is like how to actually understand what students need, especially like in the online contest, how to collect their voice, how to turn their voice, and how to turn their problems into something that actually is like valuable, or like actually useful to them. And I mean, innovation, this word to me, like I started learning about innovation when it's like back in, I think it's like year 3 or year 4. And back then, like I was obsessed with like the term student-centered education rather than innovation. It's like I try to think, think about how can I make education, how can I make my teaching and lessons like as student-centered as possible. And then I came across like with, oh, innovation, like it should be something new. And from there on, I basically keep like experimenting, absorbing, and trying different things. A lot of failures, a lot of mistakes, a lot of like wrongdoings that I wish like, yeah. But yeah, so basically that's in a nutshell, but yeah.
Yeah, were you born innovative, or did you find out in a certain stage of your life how important innovation, creativity are in the 21st century? So which is it? Were you born like that, or did you suddenly realize that innovation is so important in the 21st century?
Oh, that's a good one. Definitely not born with. Like I wouldn't. Yeah, I would never consider myself. Like I mean, even asking the teachers back in secondary school, like or my friends, like definitely not like a creative person. But since when? I think it's around like because like in my second year, I went to like Cambridge for a summer program, and there's like a course called like creativity and innovation. And back then, like creativity is still like a mystery to me. Like I still don't understand like what that is. But then on, I realized it's basically like everything around me. I mean, from like the phone I'm using, from like Zoom right now, it's basically like a different way. And slowly it's more like a muscle. It has like to be worked on. And actually like it's like 2 years ago, I got involved in a documentary project. Like, I don't know, like if any of you like have heard that. It's called Creativity Is. So basically like Sharon like is the documentarian. So basically like she tried to like investigate it in the issues of like why Hong Kong people think that like, oh, I'm not creative enough, like I never created, like why is that, like, and realizing it's basically just like yeah, it's all like the assumptions and the mystery that like we have of that. But yeah, back to your question, definitely not inborn, yeah, for me.
Yeah. Okay, now my next question is, but first of all, do you have anything, do you need to use the share screen? I mean, do you have anything to show to
I think except for the resource list, like I share on the on your learning
yes.
lesson plan, yeah, platform, I think, yeah, it's fine. Just
So
talking,
will
yeah.
you be using share screen?
You mean at USD?
No.
Oh, you mean now? Now? Oh,
Yes.
no need. Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
because
Yeah.
you share something with me, so I'm asking because I'm just wondering whether I should also show your Notion page with them. Do you need me to do that? The Notion.
I can. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can do it. Yeah. Oh, let me open.
Okay, all right. Okay, now while
Yeah.
you're doing that, all right, so I will compose my next question, all right, which is that some people think that innovation is only important for people who are doing startups, all right, starting up new companies, the business sector, commercial sector, and so on, all right. But in your view, is innovation important for education, for teachers, for schools?
I mean, definitely yes. Especially, I mean, right now, like all the online learning and all the, I mean, the rapid change of everything. So basically, I mean, even like from the future of work skill sets or from like the 21st century skill sets, like problem solving, innovation, and rapid experimentation to actually get problems solved. This is like definitely like always the top skill set. And I think that's especially like for teachers, because I mean, from the curriculum, from like the delivery, from like the students like learning needs or like their well-being, it's all like problems waiting for you, for us to solve every single day. And if we can't adopt like a new approach or perspective to see the problems, I mean, we can never get to like results that is decided by students as well as by us. So I think like it's so necessary. Yeah.
Yes. So later in maybe 15 to 20 minutes before you go, I will ask you this personal question, which is that from your experience, are you disappointed with the education circle in terms of innovation? But let's leave that till later. Of course, I have another question. I've also got to make sure I leave enough a bit of time for you to share your advice to these year 5 people in terms of teaching practice and so on. But since you are now showing your screen, so maybe I'll just let you continue, all right? Tell us what the screen is about, all right? What the stuff on the screen is about. All right, go on, please go on.
Yeah, thank you. So basically like, this actually is like, yeah, I have compiled a list of resources that you can, take a look and study. And I think like, Paul, you have already helped me put that on like your lesson plan, right?
Not yet, because I haven't asked you for permission, yes. So if you want me to share this Notion page with them, I will do that.
Oh, yes, and I can share like on chat as well. So basically, like I have categorized this. First one is like, if you're interested like innovation, I think you can't escape from design thinking and human-centered design. And I think this one like is by Stanford D School, the design school, and they have like free design thinking crash course. So basically, design thinking. I mean, I'm not trying to like go in depth like in this particular session. So basically, it's like how you can make anything people love. I mean, that's it. So I mean, that's like the process of that. And in teaching context, so basically it's like how I can design lessons students love. I mean, start with that. And then they also have like specifically for educators, like specific steps and techniques and toolkits. So feel free to check out. And if you're interested, like in particular, like education, like what are the new things, what are the latest things? I think like you should check out this one also by Stanford, called School Retool. And then this one is by Finnish, like it's like a Finnish, I don't know, like it's a governmental effort or like private effort. So basically, like they collected the most innovative education ideas like around the world, and I think like you should check out. This one is by the wife of Steve Jobs, trying to reinvent high school in America. And I think like those ideas that like the teachers do in their schools are definitely worth checking as well. And if you're interested like in finding out like in local contests, I think you should check out these two. I mean, to start off, the first one is two like other communities in Hong Kong, like full of yeah, I would say practitioners like who are trying to innovate in their classroom. The first one is Innovators. It's by Jockey Club, like sponsored by, and this one is more international school based. It's called 21st Century Hong Kong. And I think like both of these that you should check out. And for this one, I think like there's like discount for joining conference if you're like educating students, so that you can check out as well. And here's some tools that I think you should try out. And the one that you see right now is called Notion, and it's basically like it's called like an all-in-one workspace collaboratively with like even with your students, and it's like limitless like for the possibilities. And as you see like right now I'm demonstrating like as more like a web page, but it's basically like just my note, and I use that in my primary school more like a Wikipedia, like, or the knowledge base. So it's more like Google Classroom but organized in your way. And Loom, and I think like I have briefly taken a look at Paul's blog post, and like you have mentioned Loom as well. And I think like when it comes to I mean capturing some like bite-sized lessons for your students as like instructions, this one is very good. And this one, Miro, it's basically like an infinite whiteboard. And this one is actually like heavily used it at UST right now, like in the courses. And I think this one, if you want to do some, I would say like more collaborative, project-based, problem-based, this one is like definitely worth checking out. And yeah, and just follow this social like medias and web pages, like if you're interested like in the latest trend. And yeah, feel free like to I'm supposed like to say that like a lot, but like if you have any questions, yeah, I mean you can find my link in Facebook like near the end. So yeah, I will stop sharing. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So so this Notion page is shareable, right?
Oh yeah, shareable. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So later I'm going to share this link with the group, right?
Or if you want, I can do that like on chat right now. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So
Yeah.
you can, yeah. All right. I can see it now. Right. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Now, from the outline, I can see that you're also interested in sharing your experience about the practicum, the teaching practice. Now, this year, because of the pandemic, all right, the year 5 people will have their teaching practice at secondary schools in less than 2 months' time, in early November, all right? We're now in mid-September already, all right? Okay, so as the CUHK, all right? So what advice, what experience can you share with them, all right? Go ahead.
I mean, first of all, like I sympathize like the situation that like you have to go through like in November, and I know it's tough. Like, yeah, I'm not going to lie, especially like in online contests. But I mean, all the best like for that. But anyway, like back to what I wish I knew back then, and I'm trying to like think. I know like your situation like must be tougher than mine. Like I don't know, like tenfold. But I'm trying to like to back then. What advice I wish I had. The very first one is like back then I had a lot of ideas like I wanted to try, and sometimes I even tried to like compile like and try to like do everything in just one lesson. And I think this one I wish someone could have told me, hey, I mean you can try all these ideas, but do it one at a time. I mean one in a way that is like so manageable for you,
Mm.
that is not just like a one-off thing. It's like, oh, after this lesson, like, oh, you have your lesson plan, you have to submit that, and you have to do your reflection, or you have to collect data for your thesis. But I mean, after each, I would say like experiment in each time, I mean, you can take time to reflect and see how you can improve what you have learned from that particular lesson and attempt in your second lesson, which is something that I didn't do. It's more like, oh, I have like a list of, I don't know, like 40 ideas, and I try to like do that all. And basically like nothing lasts.
I'm
And
like that too.
and because like right now, like when the professors like trying to like to come up with some like very great ideas, like all we ask is like, but can it sustain? I mean, how can you record or how can you document all the steps, all the practices that work or don't work, and then make it last? Because like say for example, like in my practicum, and then like I had I mean, some practices like just for 10 minutes for students to share. I mean, what they have done, like, and all the English that they learn outside classes and exchange all of that. And I mean, after I left, and they just said, oh, it's all gone. Like, oh, we didn't like have such practice anymore. And no students like, yeah, try to initiate that like among themselves. Said, oh God. I mean, that's a pity. So like, that's the first thing. And again, because of course the workload in practicum definitely like isn't accurate to your actual workload, and you still like have a lot of time, I mean, to play around with stuff. But I mean, that said, try
Lesson
to,
planning takes a lot
yeah,
of time. Yeah.
yeah, lesson plan takes a lot of time, and try to, I mean, what I would suggest, like, list out all the ideas you want, and then
Mm.
just make sure that it's like one at a time. Yeah, that's the first thing. And second is, I mean, doing anything different from what has been done is always like, I would say it's
Mm.
a lonely journey.
Yeah.
And
Lonely journey.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, you can feel isolated. I mean, you can feel like, oh, people don't understand like what I'm trying to do, and like and at the same time, like an ego side of you say, oh, okay, they don't worth my time like to explain that, like they don't worth my explanation. Okay, I would just like continue working on stuff. But I mean, what I would tell myself is, I mean, try to share what you're doing. Try to share your goals. Like, just share, especially like here. I mean, among yourself, just share. Talk what you're working on. Share your challenges. Talk about what you need, what perspective, what feedback you need. But again, like the quickest way to get feedback is always from your students. It's always like the quickest ways to get your feedback is always from students. And also, I mean, when you try to do something new, don't do that just behind the scene. Let your students know what you're doing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this one is like a little trick, but it's so transformative. I mean, in a way that when you say, "Oh, I have observed," like, "Oh, I have observed that," um, like especially like in doing comprehension, and then like doing the reading passage, and like some of you struggle here, and I want to help you with that.
Mm.
Can you tell me more? Or I want to do something for that. Can you tell me? And if students know that, I mean, they will give you input, they will give you feedback, or they will even try to, how about like maybe let me help you as a little TA, and then I help you figure it out. I mean, first of all, you feel less alone, because when you have loads of ideas, you have loads of assumptions on how students should respond. And if you have that, you must be very nervous. I mean, because you don't want to screw it up, right? You don't want to screw it up. Like any of that assumption, like just one fail and all fail. And to make that like less high stick for you is basically to tell students, oh, I'm going to do that. And please, yeah, basically let people know. So yeah, this would be like my top 3 advice I would give myself.
Okay, yeah. And Richie, you mentioned one term, you used the term lonely journey, right? Lonely journey. I think I know what you mean, right? Because for me, the education sector itself, all right, despite our lip service that we should be innovative, creative, and so on, all right, the education sector itself is quite conservative to me, all right? quite conservative, all right? Was that the reason you, well, this could be an embarrassing question, all right? Was that the reason you quit teaching?
Yes, one off. Yeah, definitely one off. Definitely one
All
off.
right,
Definitely one off. Yeah,
okay,
one off.
thanks for being so honest, right?
Yeah,
Thanks for being so
definitely
honest.
one off. Definitely one off. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why anyway. Yeah. And that's why this course like is special, like in faculty of education. But anyway. But but like this aside, I would say we can't. I mean, the more I was immersed in the actual teaching environment, because like I was quite lucky because the school I taught was Kaohsiung School in Sai Ying Pun. So like that one,
innovative school.
yeah. I mean that one was like already quite, I would say,
proactive.
Yeah, liberal, especially like our principal, like but I mean, still, I mean, even in that context, I mean, even in that school, there must be some teachers like
yes,
are
exactly.
going to, yeah, I mean, going to like, they won't say like you shouldn't do it, but I mean, they will. But I mean, especially like if that is involving them. But I mean, if you're just doing that, I mean, it's fine. But sometimes you feel like you're the only one who tries to, like, you have that vision, you have the ideas, like you feel like, oh, I'm the only one who tries to make things different and happen. And that's why it goes back to the point, like, don't try to do it like just by yourself. I mean, share, always share. I mean, this pandemic, I mean, if we look at the bright side, the good thing is it forces a global experimentation in terms of innovation in education. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like we are no longer left with options of not innovating anymore.
Okay.
And because of that, I think more people can be your side. Yeah. So I mean, just for sure. I mean, even more personal, I would say, like, for the first year, I got depressed because of that. Yes. I mean, every single day going to the staff room, and it feels like, as you said, like, it feels like teachers are supposed to be like the most, I mean, energetic, like passionate, like bringing the best out of every student, right? And then, but once you go back to the staff room, it feels like, oh, you're in this like little cubicle, lock the door, you're not going to interact with other like adult human being, and that really like is something that you should avoid. Yeah.
Yes. The reason for asking that, but of course I need to avoid coming across as being too pessimistic or discouraging, all right? But the fact is that I have worked with hundreds of teacher trainees, all right? And many of them, when they started working in schools, they wanted to be creative, they wanted to be innovative, all right? And they didn't mind the hard work, but the toughest part was dealing with the colleagues who might find them in Chinese, we say 做壞規矩, all right? Okay, 做壞規矩, all right? So that's the hardest part. But let's not come across as being too pessimistic, all right? So Richard, I've come to my last question, but if you have anything else you want to share, then please do, all right? My last question is in fact, includes, in fact, two sub-questions, all right? The first part is, can you tell us a bit more about what your present job is like at the UST, and in what way it requires innovation? And then the second part of this question is, in the last few years, how have you been preparing yourself for this job?
Okay. So right now, my department is called Center for Education Innovation. And then my role, my position is Education Development Officer. So basically, like, my main duty is, that's something that, like, I didn't know when I was like undergraduate, like a CUHK, is, I mean, for UGC funding, they have like two streams. One is like for recurring expenses, like teaching, like all these facilities and stuff. And the second stream is actually teaching and learning funding. And for that bit, there is like two substreams. Like, one is for the innovation stuff, and another is for language education. And that's ELTU, by the way. And for that bit is what I handle, is for the innovation. So each year, like in 2 semesters, and professors, like, they're going to submit proposals on like how to make their courses like more innovative, like better, like more relevant to students. And my job is to, like, first I have to ensure that, like, the project management, like all those stuff, like, they can deliver what they propose. They have to actually come up with like some solid plan, as well as like okay, so because like most of the times, other than like those in faculty of education, professors like in other schools of faculties, they don't have like that solid foundation in how to actually make things pedagogically sound.
Yeah.
And my job,
engineering people, business people.
I mean, exactly.
They don't know how to teach, honestly.
I mean, this morning I just like met with like an assistant professor like in aerospace, and he tried to like include the augmented reality in teaching that aerodynamics. But like, I'm an art student anyway, and yeah, and what he thinks is, oh, it's so cool. I mean, because like, oh, he used to work in Rolls-Royce, and he said, oh, that's like the industrial standard, like all these things. And if it can brought like the students, it would be cool, it would be great. But I said, okay, how can that help students learning? And that's like the question like they don't usually ask themselves. And so, yeah, that's my first duty. And my second duty is because for master students and for PhD students, they have to teach. And our team also has to handle like the training for those master students and PhD. So that's the first sub question. And the second sub question is like, how
have you prepared yourself for this job?
I would say it actually started back in around year 3 or year 4, especially after the immersion. I mean, in immersion, did you go to University of York as well? York. Oh, yes. Good. Yeah. Me to York. Yeah. And then actually, like, ours is like the first year like to go to York. Before that is Edinburgh. But yeah, anyway. And since then, I started like digging deep into the latest development and practices of education outside of Hong Kong. I mean, that's the first bit. I mean, I started digging out all the websites that I showed you, like from Atopia to EdSearch to GainSmart to like all these websites. I mean, try to like live with that. I mean, try to get inspirations there. Like, that's the first thing. And second is, I actually like started sort of like a learning community back in uni. So basically gathering all the education major students from ConU, from CU, from PU, from EDU. And then because back then I basically reached out to all the schools, especially international schools, that I got inspired. Say, for example, like one in Stanley called International Montessori School. That one is so inspiring. And other international schools. And I think from that process, I got to learn more about, oh, that's how education can be done. I mean, even in Hong Kong. And that's, I mean, like, let me share like one bit, like in HKIS at Hong Kong International School. And then I visited like for a few periods in the humanity class, and just like 13-year-old, 14-year-old, they had to go through like an internship, and they had to come up with their startup ideas, proposing to those organizations, those social enterprises, and it just like 13 and 14 years old. And I was like, oh my God. And the funny thing is, like, when you visit a school, you don't expect like a student come to you, oh, like, you love startup as well. Like, I have my startup, let's collaborate. Like, here's my card. I said, oh my God, you're 13-year-old, man. and like, I mean, I was stunned. Or even like in yeah, I mean, that's the second bit. Like, just go out, reach out. I mean, just ask questions. I mean, that's second bit. And third, and the last bit I would recommend is like, and I think that bit helps a lot. It's like, don't just limit yourself in the field of education. Never. I mean, never. I mean, I mentioned like I took a gap year like this year. I mean, from game design company to I work in Deliveroo for a month. And
Deliveroo.
Yeah, Deliveroo, like as a business development manager, and also like I work in co-working space, like as community manager. And I mean, try to like expand yourself, like because it actually helps like my job right now, because my job right now I have to deal with professors from all faculties. I mean, just aerospace today. Yesterday is nuclear reactor, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, I wish like I tried to like read a little bit like physics and chemistry, like all this after like my form 3, and yeah, but I got F then, so yeah. Anyway, but I mean, the key thing is, the last thing is like, be the student you wish to teach yourself first. I mean, if you wish a student to be curious, to be someone that isn't, yeah, I mean, you try to be that person yourself. I mean, actually, that's like, yeah, one last thing is like, recently, like I had a mental exercise, and I think it's like so powerful. It's like, when I design curriculum, I try to think like, how can I give my best to students? And then I ask myself, okay, what if those students like are my children? Like, I actually like my kids. Like, what would I teach my kids? Like, how would I teach my kids? And if I ask that, I mean, the whole thing like is different, because oh my God, like they actually like my kids. Like they are actually like going to go with me. And if I think like that, it's yeah. But anyway, so in short is start reading, like start exploring. Second is like try to reach out. I mean, go reach out, volunteer, like anything that inspires you. And the last thing is like, don't just limit yourself like in the field of education. Yeah.
Wow. So it was not just one thing, right? It was one thing after another, and then another, and another, and then all these things added up to your innovative ability. All right. Okay. Now, I'm afraid I need to finish the interview. Now, I'm sorry about that. I'm sure you still have a lot of valuable things to share with them, right? And I'm sure they want to hear more from you. So, but so you don't mind them contacting you after this, all right? Because in your Notion page, all right, you have the Facebook and then the LinkedIn contact information, all right? So so can I invite the students? Of course, Richie may not be able to hear you, all right? So just give Richie a round of applause, all right? And then thank him for coming, all right? Okay. So so once again, thanks very much for
having me.
Sharing, Richie, all right? So we now need to get back to
sure.
All right.
Okay, keep in touch. Have a good day. Okay, enjoy the rest of your lesson. Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, all right. Now let's get back to, but fortunately, all right, fortunately, let me do share screen again. Fortunately, okay, let me see. This is it. Is this the one? Yes, okay, good. Now, fortunately, we are here already. Okay. Now, what is your what is your seesaw task for this session? All right. Right now, these are the instructions. All right. And in a moment, I need to give you a very quick demonstration. You should have enough time. All right. Create an interactive image using ThingLink that includes 4 links, that is 4 stars, all right, 4 texts, okay? So imagine starting one of the 3 units in Open English. So you can choose 1 unit, all right, from Open English, or if you like, you can use your own materials, all right? So for example, you're a volunteer teacher somewhere, or you're a private tutor, and you want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You want to create something for me and at the same time to use in your teaching. Fine, go ahead, all right? But if you have no idea, then go to the folder and then choose 1 unit from the Open English chapters, okay? And then imagine you're starting a new unit. So this is the first lesson, and you want to introduce the topic, the theme of the unit by getting students to work through a ThingLink interactive image. Let me see. Do I need to stop the recording first? Okay. Let me see. I need to. Do I need to stop the recording? Still recording. Okay. Let me stop it first. All right.